Welcome to Curated Stories. Can you introduce yourself and tell us about yourself and TYFO?
Of course. So, hello to all your listeners. I'm Charlene, and I am the founder of the Tyler Abdul Foundation for the Prevention of Young Suicides. So, it's also known as TYFO. And we are all about, so our vision is a world where no young person ends their own life. We support young people from the ages of about 12 to 25. And our aim is to inspire hope, purpose, and resilience so that they have the tools as they go forward in life.
How long has the foundation been running now?
We were officially registered as a charity on the 29th of October, 2025. So, from that angle, it's been a few months.
Yeah.
But I would say that it's been longer than that. I remember the first meeting that we ever had at the church, at Crossways Baptist Church, where we all came together. It was so powerful. And I think that was really the start of TYFO.
Touching on a bit more of TYFO, can you explain how it all came about?
I lost my 15-year-old son, Tyler, to suicide. Honestly, sometimes I say it and it almost feels like the words aren't real, like it's not real. So we lost Tyler in November 2024, and really that's where it's born from. I think people often have this misconception that you could almost see it coming, someone who suffers with depression, anxiety, maybe struggles with bullying and all of that. And honestly, there are people that have lost their lives due to those things, but there's also people that you really don't see coming.
Yeah.
And this was definitely one of those cases. So it really felt like I've been hit by a train, honestly. That's how it felt. It was just a shock.
Yeah.
A total, utter shock.
Let's go back and just tell us, we know that with the foundation, the Tyler Abdul Foundation, it's in the heart of everything that you're doing at the moment. But tell us a bit more about Tyler Abdul. I feel, I never met him, but I feel he's very much with us, presence. I've seen all the cheeky videos of him, his beautiful curly hair, his friends. So just tell, about him, because I think that's a really important that, his legacy is living on through us. So yeah, tell us about Tyler.
Yeah, so I can tell you a lot about Tyler.
The good things.
Honestly, mostly it is good, and obviously I am biased. He's my son. But yeah, so Ty, I would describe him as funny.
Yeah.
So funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and he'd put on these crazy accents sometimes where he'd come home and he'd tell me about the teachers. And he'd be, impersonating them, but have a really good laugh. So it really, really such a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
I would describe him as chill, very chilled.
Yeah.
He loved listening to music and getting into his flow state. He loved fashion.
Yeah.
He'd sew and really just have his headphones on and be really into his sewing. And I'd also describe Tyler as friendly. So he had a lot of friends and he cared deeply for his friends, deeply. He would do things that I would have rather he didn't do to protect his friends. That's the kind of friend he was. Such a really good friend. I'd say I think he was a good boyfriend as well, from what I saw from my side. I remember him making this gorgeous rose for someone.
Yeah.
I won't say her name. She knows who she is. But it was beautiful because it wasn't just a rose from the shop. Like, he made it.
Yeah.
It was out of denim material.
Wow.
And he crafted that rose with so much care and attention.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was very creative, Ty. Also, what can I say? Exec function, 0. Always late. Late for any and everything. Getting from one class even to another, he was late. Disorganized, chaotic. Actually, one of his friends also used that description.
Yes.
A lot of that side of him, I know where it came from.
Yeah. Okay. It all makes sense now.
Yeah, but altogether, such a lovely boy and good looking. Oh my goodness. He was like a man-child, because he actually was a child, but you had to remind yourself that, because when you looked at him, he looked like a man.
Yeah.
You know, he was so tall and
Yeah.
beautiful
And the
boy.
hair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lovely curly fro.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of his friends called it a tangled fro, which I love. But yeah. And he was always taking really good care of himself.
As we know, with the charity and myself being a trustee, and we've got to meet, you know, Ty's friends, girls and boys, and then we did a video way back when we were with the petition and things that we needed money to get the charity up, and there were the one words that came out from his friends, which were just, and even now that video is really powerful, isn't it? Of what one word to describe him. Yeah,
I think that is so powerful because the other thing is I saw Ty from a mum's eyes. You know, he's my baby.
Yes. Could do no wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, almost no wrong. I mean, the number of times I was called to the school, to be fair, I knew he could do wrong. But yeah, I saw him from a mum's side. And I suppose there are some things that I think they filter themselves as well. There's some things that he would let me see and some not.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very interesting seeing Ty from his friends' point as well, because they had a different Ty, a different point of view, you know, a different Ty.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been seeing some of these things, guys, on Ty's phone, so I'm not going to mention what I saw.
Let's leave it there.
Let's leave it there.
So what gave you the strength to turn such loss into something that helps others?
This is very interesting because I hear the word strength, and for me, I don't think I have strength. And I don't think that that's what's driving me or driven me. I think I'm really driven from loss, from devastation, from sadness, and I think, and love. That's where my drive is coming from. I asked myself this question, and really, I think that the drive is coming from love, devastation, loss. And just not wanting, you know, other young people to take their lives and other families to go through this pain. And actually, I wrote a little poem. Can I read it to you?
Yeah, of course you can. I'd love you to.
So I went to a grief grief workshop with Jackie Power, the therapeutic poet. And she inspired me to write this because I was talking about the different parts of me and the different aspects of loss. In that workshop, I realized not only am I grieving Ty, but I'm also grieving my old self that I've lost. There's more to, I suppose, grief than the one loss. It's often more than one loss, if that makes sense.
Yeah, if I was saying there, a part of motherhood that will be missing now, you won't get to see him growing into a man.
Exactly.
Getting to see his journey, children, you know, all of those things.
All those things are lost.
Yeah.
You know, I know that some of them were never there, but there was the hope, there was the dream, you know, even if it was subconscious. You know, at some point I was going to be an old lady and he was going to be looking after me. He told me he would, right? I said, Ty, please, don't ever forget me when I'm old. Of course I won't, Mom. Anyway. So there's a lot more. And I think oftentimes we don't realize that until you really, you know, you spend a moment and actually really dig deep and spend that time with yourself and ask yourself these questions. So, you know, I'm grateful for that workshop because I didn't actually realize just how much, you know, that was the case for me. So this was about losing myself as well.
Yeah.
I went to a ball last night where everyone was dressed to the nines. Designer clothing, beautiful shoes, and sparkling jewels on their necklines. The colors were bright and uplifting, and laughter filled the air. I heard a familiar voice and turned around to glare. It's her, I thought. It must be. The lady I'd heard so much about. I'd heard about her strength, and wow, it looked that way. I'd heard about the grace and kindness that she gave day by day. So much she did for others, sacrificing what she must, to help them, carry them, lift them, and in so doing, gained their trust. She glowed from where I stood, and her aura drew me closer. And what I saw when I got near will never be forgotten. The light I'd seen was from a torch behind, for her eyes reflected darkness, a soul that shone a time before, but was severely broken. The laugh I'd heard from across the room now sounded like an echo of laughs released a time before, still resounding from the deco. When she took off her coat, I hid my shock as a skeleton was revealed, a body so fleshless yet functional, housing a soul so bereaved. When I looked closer, I saw it. I knew I had seen her before, though her eyes had lost their sparkle, reflecting the pain that she bore. I stared a little longer because we had a powerful connection. And it was then that I realized that this was my reflection.
How does that feel reading it?
You know what? When I read it, it feels like I resonate with that because
Yeah.
that's how I feel. But yeah, it's quite powerful. It's powerful
Yeah.
even for me to read.
Yeah.
Because like I say, that's how I feel. You know, people from the outside might think and describe me as strong.
Yeah.
But I don't feel it at all.
It's interesting, isn't it, of what you've been through, and I think what's really amazing is the support and love that surrounds you, which is great. But sometimes it's okay to say, actually, I'm angry, I'm hurt, and sometimes as human beings, I think we've picked on it before when somebody asks you a question, how are you? And actually the double, how are you? Well, actually, and it's quite interesting that we've talked about it through the charity, haven't we? Of, asking somebody how they are, but actually being honest, and then how you react to that.
Yeah, it's one thing asking people how they are and really genuinely caring. And I think it's another thing to listen, to be able to listen. And to want to hear what that person is saying. I think a lot of the time we just think that it's all in passing. It's all just, what would you say? What is it called? Kind gestures or just courtesy. Courtesy.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, I'm fine. And, we're all used to saying that. But if someone actually stopped and said, actually, I'm not okay, what would we do with that?
Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe people listening should ask themselves that question. And it's not all in the words either.
Yeah.
Someone might be saying, I'm okay, but you can clearly see that they're not. What they look like, their emotion, how they're holding themselves. So sometimes I think it's so important to read between the lines as well, to support people. I heard this thing on a podcast recently, and I thought it was so brilliant because I'd been kind of exploring this thing about listening. And it was pace, grace, space. When you're running around and you're busy doing stuff and you're like, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop and say, do you know what, I'm feeling really bad. I can see you're in a hurry anyway, right? And I might be too. So if we stop, if our pace slows down, then we're more likely to be in that position to have these conversations, honest conversations. And space was actually, where are you having that conversation? Does the person feel that they are comfortable enough to talk to you? If it's somewhere loud or rowdy or whatever, they may not actually feel that they can speak about things in that place. And then the other one was grace, and it was about I suppose grace for ourselves and grace for that person as well, but really being non-judgmental and listening to that person's story. I think oftentimes also we're quick to say, oh, I understand, I know what you mean. But do we let the person speak and just listen? So I think, it's so important that people speak, that people talk to each other, especially, when they're feeling low. But I know that can be very difficult because sometimes when you're feeling low, you just want to hide away from the world.
Yeah.
But I think also it's so important to listen, for us to really listen.
Yeah, and that is something as well when we've talked about Tyler in the past of you had an open relationship, you talked a lot of stuff, and you'd even had a conversation about suicide with him. So it wasn't, and I'm sure that afterwards there were, what did I do wrong? What, and those, people looking at you, that's what you described in the poem of people looking at you now and pointing at you. So it's that bit of actually understanding and actually getting that message out, which, I've done the suicide prevention, which was amazing, but actually of having, I think that's what we're about, having those conversations, whoever it might be, a parent, whoever it, of actually listening, and actually being heard is such a powerful thing, and being non-judgmental about how you're feeling, how you're expressing things. It might be having relationship troubles, and, you're as 15-year-olds, when you fall in love and all of that. It's wow, what's happening? So it's, and as parents or whoever it might be, to actually ask the questions, how, and instead of bottling it up.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's good if we
Yeah.
can speak with our kids. And, I know, a lot of the time teenagers also, they pull away, and it's part of nature, isn't it? That they start wanting to hang out with their friends more, or you become that boring parent that they really don't want to see or be seen with. Actually, to be fair to Ty, he wasn't so much like that. I think I'm getting that more with Myla. But there is all of that. And it is important to speak with our kids, to spend time with them.
Yeah.
And obviously, from where I'm sat, I wish I had more time. I wish I had more time with Ty.
Yeah.
I wish that the times that we did have, I don't know, dragged him out of his bedroom or sat on him in his bedroom or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just held him tight in his bedroom, But at the same time, you don't know what's coming. And so you're just living your normal life.
Yeah.
You're just living life normally. And hindsight can be so cruel. And that, I guess, is how I look at things now. It's with hindsight. I wish I had. And I know I'm not the only one. This is what happens really when you lose someone. So I would say it's really important to speak with our kids about things that sometimes are uncomfortable. And yes, you're absolutely right. I had conversations with Ty about these things.
Yeah.
I did. Even like literally the week before. He loved music, and we're listening to some rapper. Don't remember his name, but the guy sounded like he was high on something. He wasn't like, it felt like he wasn't even saying the words right. Like he was slurring almost. Like, Mom, can you hear this? Can you hear this? And Ty could hear the music, and he enjoyed the music. It's like, it's not always about the lyrics, it's the music. I said, but Ty, this guy, I mean, surely he can afford to get help, to get a therapist or something, because he's clearly got a problem. So Ty told me this guy's history and how he got involved with drugs and all of that. And then there was something that he said, and he said, Mom, sometimes people don't want to talk or can't talk. There's some things people can't talk about, something to that effect.
Okay.
And honestly, I literally stopped in my shoes, and I said, but Ty, don't you? That you've got people to talk about anything. You could talk to me, you could talk to Uncle Floyd, you could talk to Gogo, his granny, his grandpa. There's so many people that you could talk to. And we literally, I went through a list, and I was like, that, don't you? And he's like, of course I do, Mom.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess there is only so much that we can do. We don't control our children.
No.
We really don't. We can only do our best. That's what I've learned. We can only do our best. And I know there'll be some other mothers out there that are beating themselves up, like I did, that are blaming themselves, like I did, and questioning, did I listen? Did I not? Was I there? What did I say? It's my fault because I said this, because I did that, But you would have done that in normal life. It's just because now this is the outcome that everything just feels very different.
What is the mission of TYFO today and going forward? What's the next steps for TYFO as such?
There's so much in my head and my heart, right? I want to save the world, and I want to do it now.
Yeah.
But I'm having to learn to pull back and focus my energy and take care of myself. So I'm learning that. that. So there are some things, that I really wanted to go full out on. That is like, no, let's just pull back. So, at the moment we're working on strong foundations. So that's where we're at currently, strong foundations. We're piloting a lot of things. So we've been piloting things, having workshops. We've had different workshops, for young people that have been fantastic. And I say that, the feedback's been great from the young people and from their parents even. Like we get positive feedback, which is really good because you're having, impact. But also we had some training. So we had some ADHD and autism training as well, delivered by an incredible psychologist, Emma Crouch. and that was great as well.
Yeah.
You know, so we are doing these things, but everything we do currently is a bit of a pilot. So we do it, we're learning.
Yeah.
What have we learned from this? How can we do it better? So
Yeah.
there's a lot. That's the kind of phase that we're at, is really establishing
Yeah.
our foundations. So it's exciting. It's exciting because I feel that, you know, a strong house, a big, amazing house is built on strong foundations.
Yeah.
No use having this incredible house and the wind comes and boom, it all blows down. So I think it's so important that we are doing that. You know, we would love to create a youth center in Dorking
Yeah.
for young people, a place that they can come and hang out and they can just be, but there'd also be, you know, youth workers that they trust, that they can speak with, that can inspire them. You know, we
Yeah.
could have workshops with them and
Yeah.
teach them various things. So this is what we'd love to do. We call it the Tree House because we surveyed young people, and this was one of the things that they said was missing,
Yeah.
is that a safe hangout space.
Yeah.
So that's something that we'd like to do. There are other things that we'd like to do as well, but it's all around empowering
Yeah.
young people and inspiring hope, resilience, and purpose.
Perfect. And the whole treehouse thing is really important. I think looking when I was growing up, we would have youth clubs and things like that, and there isn't anywhere. You know, in Dorking, you know, you don't see, and lots of towns now, and so it's a really great idea. And obviously, with myself, with Curated, I there are a lot of businesses who want to do workshops, and also I think it's really great to teach younger people life skills. You know, teaching the creative side of art and all sorts. So I've got some amazing people, and you know, it's all coming together, but it takes time, you know, as we know with the charity. I remember when it first got registered, it was really exciting. You know, now we've got the website and we've got the Instagram and we've got Nick, who does the social media, who's doing an amazing job. But also what we're doing is, which was great, was we had some amazing people behind us at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, Jenny from the Lucy Rayner, Ivan from Joe's Buddy Line. And they were able to help us, guide us, and then go, right, you get on with it now. We've given you the tools and skills, which, you know, there's a long way to go. We're not even there yet as such. It's a journey.
It's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey.
Absolutely a journey. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're absolutely right. So I'm so grateful for those people.
Yeah.
That February meeting where we all, you know, we were all there. I don't even know how,
Yeah.
but I was blown away by everybody
Yeah.
that was there. And, I really want to acknowledge, you know, community and the community here. So, you know, we've had people like Jenny from Lucy Rayner and Joe's Buddy Line. And there's others, you know, in the community that have really come together to support and help us.
Yeah.
So, you know, psychologist Emma Crouch. Do you know what? We've had people with different life experiences that kind of feed into this, that
Yeah.
have shown up, that have been there, that have said, how can we help?
Yeah.
And I think that's incredible. I always give a massive shout out to Pastor Rob for all that he does.
Brilliant.
Pastor Rob at Crossways Church. Honestly, I'm so grateful for that man. Also, other places, I must say, you know, Ty's friends and their families have been incredible.
Yeah.
You know, they've been looking out, they've been sharing the story and sharing things, telling people about the charity. We've had Dorking Netball donating some money to us. We weren't expecting that. That was so amazing. And we've had also from the NOAA, the Navigation Trust. These are people that have reached out to us and said, look, how can we help? Here you go.
Yeah.
You know, and every penny that people donate is going to the betterment of young people, you know. So it's fantastic, and we are so grateful for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my question there, I think you kind of hit on it, was community plays a big role in the work you do, and why is it so important in suicide prevention? And I think it's that all of the different people coming together.
I think community is so important in suicide prevention because, you know, like I say, I was beating myself up as a mom. It's my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault. But, and actually it took a lot of therapy, let me tell you, to get to that place where I realized that and could say, okay, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, sometimes I'm back there.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I've worked through that.
Yeah.
And we did something, the therapist and I, called the responsibility pie.
Okay.
And it's like a pie, and you share it out. So, I know it's not even rocket science, but it helped me so much. So it was like, okay, how much responsibility do you feel you have? And I said, all of it, 100%. Like, I'm Ty's mom.
Yeah.
This shouldn't have happened under my watch, you know?
Yeah.
And she said, oh, okay. So did you ever let him go out with his friends on his own? Did you ever give him age-appropriate responsibility? Like, yeah, he walked home from school. He went to parties. He went on the train to London and other places. He went to a concert, Ken Carson concert that he enjoyed so much just a month before. So there's all these things, and I said, well, yeah, actually, okay, yeah, fine. I'll give him a piece of the pie, a big piece of the pie too. Giving pieces of the pie to others as well, to the school, to these social media companies, you know, to our government. There's so many people that have a piece of that responsibility pie. It's not just me as a parent, you know, as a mom. There are other people in it. So when we talk about community, I think it's the same. I think really we all do also have, even if we don't say it, we don't acknowledge it, maybe we don't think about it this way, a responsibility towards each other. You know, whether that is, you know, as a Pilates instructor and people are coming through the doors, you know, that sort of community, whether it is in a coffee shop, you know, hey, how are you doing? Or, oh, I noticed, you know, you've not been around for a bit. Or I think there's so many different ways that community can come into kind of looking out for each other. But also, you know, if we think about the Andes Men Club and, you know, these other spaces, I think all of that is so powerful towards prevention.
Definitely. A couple of things that I wanted to, as well, with the community and some of the things that TYFO's been involved with. So he loved basketball. We've done a basketball. Also, the football match, which I have to say, as a personal thing for myself, I don't like football, but I absolutely loved it. You had Ty's friends there, and they were just amazing. And both of us stood there. There must have been, 60 young people. And it was just before Christmas. And I spoke to them and said, look out for each other, especially over Christmas. You know, WhatsApp, because once you're there at school and then, you know, you've got that time away. So, and I think then it clicked of who I was and what my purpose was in the charity. And there will be other things that we're raising money, but also it's that purpose of bringing the community together, getting the message across, raising awareness and raising funds, which is also what we need to bring the charity forward so we can have that tree house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what impact have you seen since starting the foundation?
I think being in this space, it can be difficult to measure exact impact.
Yeah.
But the impact that we have seen, I mean, you saw it, right? You're talking about when we went to the football game and we spoke to these young people. I mean, you saw their faces and how they listened, and there was a lot of empathy there as well. But I also think some reflection. You know, and they were all so grateful afterwards, came and said thank you to us, you know, but also, you know, contacted us. So we had some contact after where people were sharing things that they might not have otherwise. So I think we don't realize just how impactful we actually are. I think we're more impactful than we realize, because you don't know who's listening. And even if it's not that person, they may go and talk to someone else in another circle. Oh, this is what I heard, you know, and I believe that it's got a positive ripple effect. People contacting us, people sharing, you know, feedback, saying, oh my gosh, thank you. I heard this or that, and I really resonated. Some of the comments that people leave on social media or DM us and share things with us, you know that that's struck a chord with someone. You know that that's made someone feel seen or heard, you know? And so there's so many different ways, I think, where we really do realize that we're having impact. But yeah, particularly feedback from people that say, oh my gosh, you know, what you've done, or can't feel that they can come and talk to you about something and get it off their chest. And okay, they talk to us about it. We can't help with everything, but we can signpost them, you know, like you mentioned before. So, and you know, in some of these workshops, the feedback that we have from the kids and also from their parents, and even sometimes the people that are helping with the workshop, I think is really, really powerful. And one of those impactful things I just want to say is, I already mentioned Jackie Power, but when it was Ty's the first year anniversary, that was there's these moments that just feel like they're going to be so difficult.
Yeah.
And Ty's friends turned up at the studio.
Yeah.
So the Pilates studio, we turned it into a hangout space for the day.
Yeah.
And we had some hot dogs and little things like that. But we had people. We had those young people, Ty's friends, people that Tyler had touched.
Yeah.
That came there. There were so many youngsters in that room that day. And we had this poetry session.
Yep.
So I'm going to call it therapy and poetry. Actually, she calls herself the therapeutic poet. But what was so powerful was it was getting young people to have their say and share their feelings, but in such a way that nobody knew who was feeling what.
Yeah.
And a beautiful poem was created from all of the things that those people said.
Yeah.
So I thought that was so beautiful and impactful, and what could have been a really difficult day for all of us, I realize it's not just me, that's grieving. I know that, I know my family is grieving. I know Ty's friends are grieving as well. And grief looks different for everybody, but we're all, all grieving. So I thought that was so powerful.
Yeah. And from that, it's letting the young people have a voice and being heard.
Exactly.
Which is what it's all about, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
And allowing them to express themselves, but even maybe giving them different ways to do that.
Yeah.
Because for young people, it can be difficult to express themselves or to articulate how or what they're feeling.
Yeah. And that's where with the charity of finding out different ways of what makes young people click, finding out what they like, how they get information, all of those things, which is, it's interesting. And also of getting into the heads of them and not being so, I'm an old person, it's that bit of really delving in and understanding. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think that is so important. And that's what we want for this charity. This is not about us. This is about young people.
Yeah.
And who knows young people better than the young people themselves, right?
Yeah.
So there's so much that we're learning from them.
Yeah.
And so much that they're informing. And we want them to be the center of this charity.
Yeah. So what are your hopes for TYFO moving forward?
My number one hope, dream, is that we would be so impactful in young people's lives. And, I mentioned this kind of tsunami or ripple effect. And that's what I want. I want a positive ripple effect. We may do something with 10 people, 20 people, but it's not just the 10 or the 20. I want those people to go out and those people to go out. And so it ripples and has a positive effect. And not only now, but in the rest of their lives. So this is it. This is about giving them the tools that they'll need at some point in their lives.
Yeah.
A lot of the time at school, they're learning, trigonometry and whatever else, Pythagoras theorem, Shakespeare, all these kind of things. Shakespeare always gets me because Tyler said, I do not care who Shakespeare was or what he said. But again, there are other things that are so meaningful in life that every person needs to learn and understand.
Yeah.
And then there's some things that we don't. But yeah, it's that to really empower youngsters so that when they're 40 years old and they're going through a rough time in their lives, they'll know that they've got these techniques that they can use to help them in that state so that they don't get to the edge. So this is our thing. It's that we want them to not even get to the edge.
Yeah.
Right? We want them to have everything they need to self-regulate, if you like,
so
that they don't get to those points.
Perfect. Last question. I mean, obviously with yourselves of our events and that as working alongside Curated by Dapper and Suave, and I know that we have a journey there of it's been quite emotional of people coming in, talking to you guys, and everyone has been affected by suicide somehow, which we're understanding now. So we're looking at different ways of when we're at an event of raising awareness, which, it's heavy. It's heavy on the heart. It's heavy when you see those people that will tell their stories. So with that as well, what does it mean to you working with us as Curated by Dapper and Suave? What does that mean to you?
We're so grateful, for the opportunities to go to places like this, just to markets, because it is community.
Yeah.
Is people. And like you say, you're in this place. I suppose not a place where people may, shall I say, expect to see something about what we're doing, but I think it will, strike some chords, shall we say?
Sure.
And I think it's powerful for us to be there to raise awareness,
Yep.
to also get ourselves seen so people know about TYFO.
Sure.
And they know where they can go to, for certain things, for support, for help. But also, like I say, where they can be signposted to places to get help. So I think it's important for raising awareness and also chipping away at the stigma. Yeah, sure. Because there is a lot of stigma still around poor mental health and also around suicide. There really is. I mean, some people have experienced it in their families, but the family has maybe said, oh, no, it wasn't that. It was something else. Yeah. So there's a lot of kind of cover-ups and no, that never happened, or mystery around these things. But we know that, suicide does happen, very sadly. Yep. And it doesn't happen to a particular type of person. There's no type. Yeah. It's anybody. Yeah. You can be wealthy, you cannot be wealthy. You can be from this culture or that culture. It doesn't discriminate, really. No. The only kind of discrimination it has is that it's 75% male. Yeah. Which is something, to be dug deeper into and understood and worked on. But otherwise, I think there is so much stigma around it. And in all honesty, I can understand why there would be, or why there could be, because I think there is a sense from a mother, talking from a mother, there is a sense of maybe failure. Yeah. I failed this person, a sense of guilt, and a sense of, please don't bring it up because it's so hurtful. So let's just put flowers over that and just leave it in the corner. So I can understand it, but nothing is going to change if we do that. Yeah. So I think it's so important to talk about it, to be real, and have these uncomfortable conversations that need to be had. Yeah, perfect. I love that. And with myself being a trustee, there's so much that I've learned and I'm still learning. And I love the fact that at our markets, we're able to have you guys there and raising awareness, especially with being in Dorking. That's where Ty's friends in there that come along as well. So how can people find out more about the Tyler Abdul Foundation? You can go to our website, which is tyfo.org.uk. Perfect. So, I mean, we've still got some work to do, improving it in various ways. As I said, everything is a pilot. We try, we realize what needs to be changed, we improve it. So you can find out about us on the website. You can follow us on Instagram. Yep. So Tyler Abdul Foundation on Instagram. We're on Facebook as well, on TikTok even. The socials, YouTube, there's going to be, stuff on YouTube as well. So that's how and where you can find us. And, if ever you want to come and talk to me, I'm usually in Dorking at the Pilates O studio in St. Martin's Walk, always happy to have a chat and a cup of tea. And I have done with a few people, and it's really lovely. That's generally where you would find us. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure to find out more about the Tyler Abdul Foundation. So thank you once again. Thank you, Jason. If I could just add one thing that I think I maybe have left off. And that is, we're talking about community. We would love to, partner with anybody in the space that has the same vision, prevention of suicides for young people. So always happy to have a chat and collaborate and support each other because we have the same vision. Perfect. Thank you. Love that. Thank you.